Hello, everybody. I wanted to go ahead and make a video here. I had posted this on Reddit about 10 months ago, and it had been received pretty well by this community, but I know not everybody's on Reddit. So I wanted to also make a YouTube video because I know how helpful those were during my journey. Um, Basically, what I wanted to do, I'll provide a little bit of context here. I had conducted an experiment where I did not. So I retained for 300 days. I did NoFap for 300 days, or basically didn't ejaculate right for 300 days, and pretty much every permutation that you can think of in that regard. So the experiment was I had basically, for context, I had gone from an average of maybe once every 4 days for 15 years, maybe something like that, to completely celibate for 300 days straight. So it's as crazy as it sounds. I wanted to have a really good contrast between before and after. Um, the reason that I had conducted this experiment, you might ask, why would you ever do something like this? Well, it's an excellent question. Uh, there had been a lot of anecdotal evidence from a lot of people in this community that say that periods of abstinence in men, especially in men, probably in women too, but particularly in men, increase your testosterone. Or people had reported that they had increased testosterone um, by retaining. So I had heard that some people say this was true. Other people said there's no evidence for that. It's placebo. It's basically all in your head. Nothing to get excited about there. And there's a lot of debate in the community on whether it actually does or not. On one hand, you have a lot of anecdotal reports that it does, but no one seemed to have any scientific evidence or studies that had been conducted that it actually did. So what I wanted to do was conduct an experiment and collect evidence, for myself at least, that would kind of decide either way for me. So like I say, I'd come from that background. And went straight into the 300-day streak. Now, the reason I personally wanted to conduct this test, in addition to what I'd heard, was right now in the world we're experiencing. A lot of people are talking about this, an epidemic of low testosterone. So no one really is sure why, but in recent decades we've seen a pretty dramatic downward trend in testosterone in men and in women, compared to what there was in previous generations. And it seems to be a worldwide phenomenon. It's not located to a specific nation. It's more of pretty much worldwide. We're experiencing downward trends of testosterone. So any kind of an intervention that you can do that would increase your testosterone, besides TRT, obviously TRT is kind of the gold standard when it comes to increasing your testosterone replacement therapy, where you inject testosterone into yourself every week, kind of on a weekly schedule, a certain amount of milligrams. That's one answer, but it doesn't really solve the question of why there's low testosterone in the first place. That's kind of one problem with that. The other problem is maybe you don't necessarily want to do TRT for a couple reasons. Maybe TRT is too expensive for you. It is definitely an investment for TRT. Maybe you don't want to inject yourself, every week with testosterone. There are some side effects too. With once you get on TRT, you're kind of in it for the long haul. It's not necessarily like you can get on it and then you get off. It's more of like a long period of time, maybe even your lifetime of being on testosterone replacement. Once you're on, there's some side effects to it as well, such as infertility. So, while it can be basically life-saving for some people, for other people, maybe it's not the best solution. I'm probably one of those people. So any kind of intervention that we can do, like I say, that's not that, maybe, that people have the right to know about it if it actually works, right? But I didn't know if it worked or not. So what I decided to do, I'm going to go ahead and click on these. I took some images, so screenshots of my lab values throughout. And I'm going to be looking at my notes here on my phone as I do this. So just bear with me a little bit here. But so what you're looking at right here, this is my a little bit more context here. I basically before going on this streak, every other area of my life was basically dialed in. So my diet was, in my opinion, world class. And I don't say that lightly. I mean that literally I was eating healthy proteins pretty much every day: herring, mackerel, salmon, any kind of a healthy fish, chicken, beef, grass-fed beef. I was eating healthy fats: hazelnut oil, walnut oils, coconut oil, nuts, hazelnuts, all the different nuts like tree nuts, macadamia nuts, green leafy vegetables pretty much every day, salads, fruits, berries, seeds. So pretty much when I say world class, I mean world class. And I didn't have, I wasn't eating junk food. I wasn't eating like donuts I don't even really consider that junk food. Like, junk is a relative term depending kind of on where you're at. But what I mean is I didn't have like a lot of highly processed foods such as donuts or ice cream or something. I might have that kind of stuff like occasionally, maybe like once a week or something like that. Right. But, again, very good exercise. So I'd been eating that diet 3 years before this experiment. So that was not a new thing. I'd been eating well. Exercise, I had been lifting weights and running like 3 or 4 times a week for years before doing this experiment too. So that hadn't changed. I didn't take any supplements during the experiment or before it, really. Sleep, I had been in the habit of getting consistent sleep, 8 hours a night, for probably 2-3 years before that. So like I say, my health and lifestyle habits had been dialed in well before doing this experiment. And I made sure to not change literally anything about my lifestyle during the experiment, because I didn't want to introduce any third variable that might possibly cause any kind of a difference in testosterone. Anything that I'd heard of that affected testosterone, I tried to eliminate it as a variable or hold it constant during the experiment, so that nothing could explain it except any changes in celibacy regarding that. So that's a little bit of extra story. This first every lab test was taken, by the way. This is an at-home test from Everlywell, which is actually a really good subscription service. You should check them out. This is the metabolism test. It's an at-home lab test, not as accurate as maybe going to LabCorp or something like that and getting that done, but a heck of a lot cheaper. And I think you'll be impressed with the consistency that you see here in this video. I took the test every day. It's a blood draw test every day. I took it at 5:30 a.m. right after waking up, when testosterone is highest, cortisol is lowest, typically in men. No food or drink before the test, obviously. I kept that consistent throughout. So every test that you're going to see is consistent there. This test that you're seeing is 2 months before I even knew about NoFap or retention or celibacy. So this is a baseline of what my testosterone was, and likely was for years before I had done this. So you can see, for men my age, which was 28 at the time, I was 28 years old during this experiment. You can see this is the low range right here for men my age. This is the normal range for men my age. And this is the high range for men my age. The measurements are in picograms per milliliter. This is measuring free testosterone. This is a very important point. This is not total testosterone. The reason being is that total testosterone doesn't tell you almost anything about your health, because total testosterone is inert in the serum. Total testosterone cannot bind to androgen receptors. Only free testosterone can bind to the androgen receptors. And a lot of people make that mistake. They think that, oh, wow, my total testosterone is super high, or my total testosterone is super low, I'm in trouble. that's not really true. You need to look at the free testosterone, because the free testosterone is the bioactive form. Anything that you associate with testosterone is because of free testosterone or a close derivative like DHT. The free testosterone is responsible for all the effects, like the deep voice, the aggression or confidence or drive, or whatever correlation there is there. But the free testosterone is what you want to look at. So all these measurements are made in free testosterone. Try to remember to tell you the total testosterone too at the end. I did check that one time in the middle of the streak, if I can remember that. So this is this is 2 months, like I say, before retaining, before going into the experiment here. You can see I am at 68 picograms per milliliter, which is not good, because that's on the low end of what's normal, considered normal. 49 is the cutoff for deficiency. And with testosterone, really, the more the better. I mean, you definitely want to be in the higher end of the spectrum. You don't want to be in the lower end, because there's just a lot of symptoms that you will experience, and you won't like your life as much if you have low testosterone. Just saying. So I'm at 68 picograms per milliliter. I wasn't actually too surprised at this when I took this test. I had kind of figured that I was in the lower end just from some symptoms that I had. But that kind of gives you a baseline. So now the second screenshot that you're going to be seeing is during No Nut November of 2021. No Nut November is basically a challenge in the NoFap community, 30 days of abstinence. I decided to take the challenge, and at the end of that challenge, I retested my testosterone. You can automatically see right off the bat, I'm at 114. 3 months prior was 68 picograms per milliliter. I'm at 114. So I doubled basically my testosterone just from 30 days of abstinence there. So already, just right in the beginning, we're starting to see kind of this uptick. We can't call it a trend yet, obviously, because there could be, you could chalk that up to just random chance maybe. So 114 picograms per milliliter. Now that's month number 1. So that's 30 days. We fast forward to 60 days, which was month number 2. This is now December of 2021. Now you can see I am now above the high range for men my age. So I'm at 212 picograms per milliliter. So now I basically tripled my testosterone at this point. So I'm at 212. It's flagged as high right now. So it's barely above that 185. I'm at 212. So, about not crazy high above that reference range, but high enough to get it flagged. Something that, I'll get to that in a second. So again, you can see now. So now we're starting to see maybe there's something here. We still can't tell. But again, like I say, I literally changed nothing about my life because I specifically made sure not to. I didn't even take cold showers during this time because I'd heard that it increased your testosterone. And just in case, and the weird off chance that it did, I decided not to even change that, even though everyone's like, oh man, you got to take cold showers during this. So I decided not to. Okay, now this is month number 4. I believe this is month number 4. You can see here, 226. This is January of 2022. This is month number 3. So now I am at 90 days of retention. So I'm at 226 right here. So again, it went up even more. So the previous month was 27 days ago was 212. I'm at now 226. So I'm still in the high zone. A little bit of a funny kind of aside here is when Everlywell sends you back the lab values, it gives you recommendations based on kind of what it thinks is the reason why your testosterone could be high. And it started suggesting weird things to me. It started saying it must be that I'm accidentally rubbing my hand on the barbell that someone else had used a topical testosterone cream before me in the gym. and it thought that I was accidentally rubbing off the testosterone hand cream on my hand because that was the only thing it could like think of that would explain why my testosterone went up this much. So I just thought that was weird that it would think that, or it thought that I was maybe taking DHEA supplements, which I wasn't. Those are the only two things that it thought I could be taking. So I thought that was kind of funny. Um, so this is month number 3. Now let's go to month number 4. So this is 120 days of no ejaculation right here. So 171 picograms per milliliter here of free testosterone. So now I'm actually back in the normal range, the high end of the normal range. I'm not sure why it went back down like this, but again, your hormonal values aren't going to be perfect. There's going to be some, no matter how tightly you try to control it, you're not going to be able to control it like down to the digit. Is kind of what I think happened here. But what you're kind of looking for in these tests, you're not specifically looking for like this is the exact value that it was. What you're looking for is kind of a general trend. Okay, what are all these numbers? Kind of you took like a bird's eye view and you step back. What is the general trend of what's going on here? What we're seeing here, at least for me, in my case, what I'm seeing is that there's a definite upward trend in the numbers, and that's confirmed if you go to month number 5. I'm back in the upper range, the upper zone of what's considered normal for men my age. I'm at 197 picograms per deciliter. This was in March of 2022, right here, 5th month of the streak. So like 150 days, something like that. So again, I'm back above it. Then we go back to 197. This is month number 6. Yeah, this is April of 2022. So again, I'm kind of dancing around that line, that kind of upper range now. This is month number 7, I believe. This is month number 7. Yeah, it's 201. This is June of 2022. This is getting up. I don't even remember how many days that is. It's a lot of days, boys and girls. It's a lot of days. I'm 201 in the testosterone, so I'm barely above. Well, I'm not. Yeah, I'm kind of barely above that upper range there, but kind of basically where it has been most of the time. So I'm in the upper range, and then this is the last one that I took. This is from 8 months. So you can see I went back down to the kind of the middle of the normal. I think the only thing that I thought about a lot. I thought a lot about why this happened since I took this value. The only thing I can think of that maybe the reason why it dipped back down, I was still retaining. So the only thing I can think of at this point was maybe I did actually, I don't even remember why, but I did stop lifting weights for, I think it was like 2 weeks or something like that. It was like a really short break of lifting weights, and I don't even remember why I did it. I just remember that was the only thing I could think of. Again, though, I had been lifting weights for, 7 years, like 6 years before this experiment. And all throughout the experiment, I didn't change my weightlifting habits, except at this point. I do think lifting weights does actually increase my testosterone a little bit, just kind of anecdotally. But again, because I had been lifting weights and I was still at 68 picograms per milliliter at the beginning. So any effect that it does have I think is pretty minimal, or maybe it was enough to barely get me in the normal range. Maybe if I didn't lift weights, I'd probably be in the low range. If I didn't retain or lift the weight. So who knows? It's just something I noticed. So, yeah, I'm going to go back here. So yeah, that's kind of the screenshots for what, I experienced throughout the streak. So I just have a few closing thoughts here. And I did want to mention my total testosterone. I took one test, I think it was Marek Health or something. I might be pronouncing that wrong, but I did go to LabCorp about halfway through the retention streak. I think it was down around day like 150, something like that, when the testosterone was really high. My total testosterone was 968 nanograms per deciliter, so it was really high. It was actually, even the total testosterone was in the high range of what it should be. So I theorize that, according to what I experienced personally, this is, again, keep this in mind. If you do decide to do an experiment like this, if you do NoFap, your results obviously are going to vary. There's a decent chance that honestly a lot of you would experience even higher testosterone than I did. Imagine someone who already has high testosterone to begin with, like a baseline, and then he does retention. I'm sure you'd probably be getting up into like 250 range, maybe 230s of like free testosterone, which would be incredible. And then there's probably some people that wouldn't see as good of results as I did, maybe. So who knows, but I did want to post my results here, and I wanted to encourage you guys that this is definitely something that you should take seriously. I made another post as well of the benefits that I experienced subjectively throughout the whole streak. I can make a video on that too. This is my other post that I made. In all, I think I had 181 benefits that I saw. I took copious notes in a spreadsheet file, so I was extremely conscientious of any changes that I experienced, and I experienced a lot of changes, and they weren't like subtle changes. I mean, they were very significant changes that I experienced subjectively, in terms, and it's things that you would expect with increased testosterone. I mean, deeper voice, more confident, more aggressive, less OCD tendencies, more assertive, more honest, more authentic. I mean, the list goes on. Like it was really cool. There's a lot of cool benefits I experienced. So if you guys want me to make a video on that too, I can do that. I do want to stress the importance. You definitely do want to try. This is one of those things in life. I've tried pretty much every kind of health practice you can think of. Retention is one of the strongest, most robust things that I've experienced so far. So it's definitely worth a try. And pretty much everyone kind of agrees that this is definitely something cool. If you've never done this before, it's very hard. I'm not, so I'm not going to lie. It is very, very difficult to do. To be able to pull off a 300-day streak takes a lot of willpower, a lot of discipline. You got to be on your A game. You got to be focused. You cannot fool around. Like you gotta know why you're doing it, because there's going to be a lot of moments of sacrifice that you're going to have to make. I picked up a lot of tricks along the way, so I can even make a video on like how you would go about doing it, some techniques. But yeah, this separates the men from the boys for sure. This is definitely, if you make any kind of a streak, even anything over 30 days is amazing, is really, really hard and very commendable. So, but it's worth it. If you can do it, it's definitely worth the sacrifice. So, let me know in the comments if you guys have any questions on anything that I posted here. I'd be more than happy to answer them. And, yeah, until next time, peace.